guys, my name is Mrs. Foy and I'm a science teacher at York Suburban School District. Recently my grandson Eli came to visit us and he's tall enough now to get water for himself, and he said, "Nana, where does the water come from that we drink?" So we thought we'd check it out. It turns out the water in our city of York comes from the York Water Company. The York Water Company is a really cool company because they are the oldest publicly owned utility in the country. So 200 years ago, in 1816, some really smart people got together and said, we better have some safe places to get water for our growing city. And so they had a really good plan for how to get water. So it turns out that our water comes from the south branch of the Codorus Creek, which is a pretty little creek in the south of York, and that is the primary place that our water comes from. But the York Water Company people were really smart, and just in case the south branch of the Codorus Creek does not have enough water, they filled up a reservoir that we call Lake Redmond. And some of you may have been on a boat there, or you may go fishing there. And just in case Lake Redmond, we get the water used up in Lake Redmond, we can use the water in Lake Williams, which is just below Lake Redmond. You may have seen that lake too. And I thought this was really cool too, just in case the south branch of the Codorus runs dry and Lake Redmond runs out of water and Lake Williams runs out of water, there is a pipe that goes from the Susquehanna River all the way over to York, and that is our backup water. So you can see the York Water Company is really thinking and being smart about where our water comes from. So this is a map of York, and I wanted to show you some places. So this is the south branch of the Codorus Creek that comes in here. This is where the water is going to be pumped from. This is where the water is filtered up on Reservoir Hill. And there's also another place that you might have seen a building that says the York Water Company that's over on Mount Rose, and that is the distribution center. That is the place where they work on the pipes and the fire hydrants and the meters for our water. So this is a diagram of the way that the York Water Company cleans our water. So you can see that here is the water that comes in from the south branch of the Codorus Creek. But you can see that we have the reservoirs of Lake Redmond and Lake Williams that we can also use. And then remember that during a drought, we have a pipe that goes from the Susquehanna River. So the first place we're going to look at is where all this water is pumped. And this is the Brillhart Pumping Station. So if you have driven by Indian Rock Dam Creek Road, you may have seen this building. This is the pumping station, the Brillhart Pumping Station. And so the water from the south branch of the Codorus Creek goes in here, and they take the first steps to cleaning that water to make it good for us to drink. So what they do at the Brillhart Pumping Station is they have some screens that they get some leaves and sticks and things out of the water that were in the creek. They also add a chemical called potassium permanganate that helps neutralize anything in the water that might smell bad or taste bad. And so now we're going to see where the water goes next. The next place the water goes to is the filtering station on Reservoir Park. And I know that when my children were little, they used to go sledding down this hill, and you may have been here too, but at the top of this hill is where our water is cleaned so we can drink it. This is a picture of the building at the top of the hill where you may have gone sledding, and this is where the water is filtered and cleaned and stored for us to be pumped to the city of York. One of the things that you notice is around where our water is cleaned and where it is stored, it is very well protected. So this is security to protect our water to make sure that it's safe to drink and protected. So what happens up on top of the reservoir hill? Well, the water that we drink is filtered again and it is washed again. And there is a chemical called alum that helps to coagulate. It kind of pulls together little particles in the water that we don't want in the water, and they kind of settle down, and you can see that after washing and filtering that we get some solids that we call silt, and we're going to see where they go in just a minute. The other thing is that the York water tastes so good. One of the reasons it does is because the York Water Company uses carbon to help filter the water, and that helps the water to taste good and have a nice smell to it. So when Eli drinks this water, he is really excited because it tastes delicious. He gives us the thumbs up for that water. And one other thing I wanted to tell you is that we should not be using expensive bottled waters. The York Water Company makes good water for us, and it's just pennies of glass. And the water that comes out of our faucets meets and exceeds the standards for bottled water. And of course, bottled water is made out of plastics that we throw away. And plastics use oil, and that process is not good for our environment. So don't use plastic water. Use a reusable water and use the good York Water Company water. So I'd like to thank Mr. John Mr. Pokelembo from York Water Company, who helped me learn about how we make water here in York, and I hope that's been helpful. See ya!